One thing that I like about fiction is the inclusion of multiple intelligent species, and One Piece does a great job in doing that. There are many species in the world of One Piece, each with their own unique character, design, history, culture, and abilities. Welcome everybody, you're watching channel MGT. This is your host Dino Kun, and this is our first ever video on a species background. In this video, we'll be focusing on fishmen and merfolk from One Piece. First of all, if it's called merfolk, then why are they not called fishfolk? I mean, where are the fishermen? What happened to them? My quest to find the answer led me to two examples of fishermen shown in the anime. First example that I could find is of Octopaco, whom Hachan tried to win over during his cover story, Hachan Seafloor Stroll. Another example is that of a pregnant fishwoman shown in the background. This shows that fishwomen do exist and they are just not shown much in the story. That is, most relevant fish people are male. Okay, now let's focus on the actual topic. Fishmen and merfolk are two humanoid species that inhabit the seas. They are ruled by the great knight of the sea, King Neptune. Their homeland is called the Fishman Island. It is an underwater island which dwells 10,000 meters below sea level in a giant hole that goes under the red line at the bottom of a deep trench and serves as a gateway for those who don't wish to or are not legally permitted to cross the red line from above. The island resides in a giant double-layered bubble floating above the seafloor, seemingly filled with about half water and reef and half air. Ryugyu Palace, where King Neptune lives, is in a smaller bubble on top of the main island's bubble. It is illuminated by the sunlight tree Eve. Though it is directly under the main seat of power of the world government, Fishman Island has always been protected by the pirates from outside threats. The island was previously under the protection of Whitebeard pirates, and later Big Mom took over the island after Whitebeard died. Currently it is under the protection of Straw Hat pirates. Fishman Karate can also be learned here, more specifically in the Fishman Dojo. This dojo is the pride of Fishman Island. The island came to be because fishmen on the ocean floor would gather at the only place where sunlight reached them. That place eventually became Fishman Island. The sunlight came from the roots of sunlight tree Eve, which would absorb sunlight on the surface and then send it down to Fishman Island via the tree's roots. Fishman Island is incredibly difficult to reach, with only 30% ships surviving the journey. The only way for a conventional ship to get there is to be coated with a special resin found in Sabaudi Archipelago. Yes, that is how it's pronounced, apparently. And all ships entering the island must undergo a customs inspection. Key differences between fishmen and merfolk is their appearance. Upper half of fishmen is that of a fish or other sea creatures, and the lower half is that of a human, whereas mermaid and merfolk have their upper half of a human while the lower half is that of a fish or other sea creature. While mermen keep their tails intact their whole lives, mermaids' tails split when they turn 30, allowing them to walk on land more easily. Both fishmen and merfolk can interbreed with other species. For example, Big Pan, a member of Foxy Pirates, is a Wotan, a hybrid between giants and fishmen. Kokoro, the main conductor of Sea Train, was known to have had a human husband and bore a son with him. Humans and fishmen can also interbreed, of which Sappy and Dellinger are examples. During the Fishman Island arc, Kami's pet and teacher Papag has explained that fishmen and merfolk can also interbreed. However, the child's race can randomly be either fishman or merfolk. Most fishmen consider humans to be an inferior, weaker species. However, there are few fishmen who don't think this way. For example, Tom, one of the best shipwrights ever, adopted and taught Iceberg and Frankie the art of shipbuilding. He was the builder of Roger Pirate's ship, the Oro Jackson. Jinbei saw Ace as an equal and respected the Whitebeard pirates. Fisher Tiger, the founder of the Sun Pirates, ordered Jinbei and Arlong to not kill any humans because it would only cause more anger and resentment. He also freed many human slaves, which included Boa Hancock and her two sisters. When the Straw Hats were suspected of having kidnapped several mermaids from Mermaid Cove, it had been seen that at least some Fishman citizens insisted that the pirates should not be convicted without solid proof. But unlike the fishmen, the merfolk are peaceful and prefer their race to remain a secret. They often are rumored to aid drowning sailors, plucking them from the sea and taking them to safety. However, some were violent and hateful, like those who joined the new Fishman pirates. Like fishmen, merfolk face dramatic discrimination in certain areas due to past history between them and the humans. One of the main reasons for hatred for humans is because of the long history of slavery that was practiced. Fishmen and merfolk both were enslaved as servants, prize, and pets. 200 years before the current storyline, slavery was prohibited by the world government to try and normalize the relationship with other species. But it was still practiced in some places by bribing the world government who preferred to look the other way. The slaves are marked by the celestial dragon with a symbol called the hoof of a soaring dragon, forever marking them as less than equal. World government also tried to make alliance with the Fishman Island to remove the problems between them. Jinbei's appointment to the Shichibukai was one such attempt, but due to his resignation, that ended in failure. Many humans continued to see fishmen as monsters, and in some cases they were sold as slaves. Such bad relations between the races would influence certain sects of fishmen to go even as far as to return the humans what had been done to them. An example of this was seen in Arlong Park in East Blue, where Arlong succeeded in enslaving the inhabitants for 8 years. Another example is of Hody Jones, who admired Arlong's ideals, took it to a more extreme level by enslaving humans and sending them to missions that would most likely cost them their lives, or dragging them through the battlefield as cannon fodder and mules. The new fishermen pirates, specifically the officers and the captain, took this hatred to irrationality due to being raised in an environment that basked in the hatred, and despite not being subjected to any oppression themselves, they were fully willing to die and destroy their own bodies to achieve their revenge, in the fear that the day that humans and fish would coexist and cease their animosity would come. Due to the long-term neglect, this hatred had been passed down to future generations since the past, resulting in the new fishermen pirates being the most prominent example of meaningless hatred. However, in recent events after the advent of the worst generation, the hatred has begun to die out as all of the One Piece universe falls into chaos. Jinbei joined the Straw Hat Pirates, so let's see what Oda-san has in mind for us for the rest of the story. That was all about Fishmen and Merfolk. Hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe for more videos, and please tell us what other species you would like us to cover. Until next time.